also somebody that whenever it comes to planning any trip, it kind of feels overwhelming because
there is so much to do, there is so much to see, there is so much stuff that you need to organize, thinking about the plane tickets, the insurance, the packing, what should I take with me, where should I go? There's so many places in just one country that I can see, and even in just one city, there's so many possibilities.
Well, if that is you, welcome to the team. What I truly feel overwhelmed with, we're talking the planning, the actual things that I want to do in the country, in the city, whatever it is once I'm there. There are so many things that you can do in just one country and sometimes even in just one city that is just impossible to know them all, even when you travel long term. And let me tell you, I usually travel long term. So today I'm taking you along my journey on how I planned my next trip to Taiwan. I'm going to spend over 2 months in Taiwan this summer. I know it's not the best season, summertime, to travel Taiwan because typhoons and a lot of rain, but sometimes we just have to work with what we got. I cannot travel in another period of the year. And I probably imagine that you are kind of in the same situation as well. Instead of just complaining and having to give up on the opportunity to travel to some country that we really want to visit, I'd rather just make do with what I got and try to make the best out of it. Because any country can change a lot depending on the weather. I was in Morocco a few years back for 10 days and I got 10 days of rain. I even got stuck in a blizzard in Morocco. So oftentimes we don't really have the opportunity to decide the specific period of time we can go. Sometimes we can, and of course, I would definitely pick another period, maybe between spring or autumn when it comes to traveling places like Asia, because those are kind of the best times to visit. I will be traveling Taiwan starting from middle of July all the way to the end of September. And yes, that is full-on typhoon and rain season. I know that. I will have to make do because that's the only time I can travel there. When it comes to things like planning the flight or the insurance or all the practical stuff, I am pretty set. I find that I'm just following up on the deals that I can find, especially when it comes to flight deals. You can literally find me checking Google Flights or Skyscanner every single day for a period of time until I found a day that there is like at least a good offer. Patience on those things goes a long way. Insurance prices instead don't really change that much and usually are pretty stable, so you can for sure find places that will give you discounts. And I strongly suggest that you get a travel insurance because you never know. You never know when you're gonna need it. It might be because you get sick, it might be because you get hurt, it might be because you lose your luggage or you get your flight delayed, whatever it is. Travel insurance is one of those situations where you want to be safe rather than sorry. So when it comes to flights and insurance, I'm all pretty much set. What truly overwhelms me is the actual planning of the places I want to visit, the things I want to do, the best areas to be, to stay, the accommodation, and all of that, because there is so much of it. There's just so many possibilities. It gets kind of overwhelming. I might have this idea of the country, of the things that it offers and the things that I want to do, but when it comes to the specifics, I kind of get lost. There are so many things. And every time you speak with somebody or you watch videos on YouTube or you look or research, you find new places. So lately, my new technique, you could say, to fix this problem is to get help from ChatGPT. I know, AI, it will either destroy or save the world. We still have to see about that. In my opinion, though, ChatGPT or any kind of other AI can be very useful when it comes to planning. Of course, there are some tips and tricks on how to help ChatGPT make a perfectly custom travel itinerary that will just suit exactly your taste. And that takes a little bit of knowledge, let's say. So today we're going to go through my method on using ChatGPT to plan a trip. We're going to plan my trip to Taiwan together so that you can get an idea of how it works. What I'm actually going to share is how I planned a 2 week itinerary for visiting the entire country. This itinerary will cover a 14 days period of time where I'll be traveling around Taiwan in general, and I'll be stopping in different places. So it will have to include the transportation, accommodation, things to eat, see, things to do, and it will also have to keep in consideration the time of the year that I'm traveling there. So this is how I plan my trip with ChatGPT step by step. So the first thing you have to understand is that ChatGPT is AI, or any other AI you wish to use. It's a very useful tool, but it needs to know what its role for that specific task and also your specifics. I wanted to be a travel expert about Taiwan, and I want a guide about the best places to visit and so on. So I would give it a role, and I will have to say, hi, today you're a travel expert and a Taiwan guide with 20 years of experience. You know everything about the best areas, attractions, and places to visit. Please let me know if you've understood your role. So for it to understand its role, it's really important because it will know exactly where to pick the informations and will pick the most relevant ones for the things you're asking for. Another important thing that you really want to remember to do is to use the deep thinking method, or if you have a plus, also the deep research is a great option as well. So I know it's in Italian, but bear with me. Understood, I'm your dedicated Taiwan travel expert with 2 decades guiding visitors through every corner of the island. I know the top neighborhoods, hidden gems attraction, local festival, transport tips, and authentic dining spots, and so on. So it will give you an idea. What would you like to explore first? So now what you want to do is not ask, okay, I'm going to be in Taiwan for 2 weeks. Tell me all the best places to be. Because that's just too generic. So you kind of want to give it your background. What is your taste? What do you prefer? What do you like? Are you a foodie, or do you like more adventures? Do you like nature, or are you into more the cityscape? What are your preferences? And also how you're traveling. In my case, I will be traveling with my partner for 2 weeks. And that is also relevant because maybe certain places that it might suggest if you're, for example, alone, if you're typing instead, I don't know, I am a single 40 years old male, it's going to be completely different if it's you say, for example, I'm a 22 years old girl in a relationship and I'm traveling with my partner. Or if you say, I am a 30-something years old woman and I'm traveling with a group of friends. It will give you completely different options and different styles of traveling, different things to do. So this is really important actually. If you want to have an actual itinerary that is completely custom to you and to your taste. So let it know what you want to do and what are your main interests in this situation. So for it, I told it I would like a tour guide for a 14 days long trip starting from Taipei and ending in Taipei. This is also relevant. You want to know what is the starting point and the ending point. If you're traveling and you know that your departure flight will be the same city, the same town, the same place as from where you arrived, you want to let it know so that it knows how it's going to have to plan the trip to cover all the 14 days. I'm interested in a mix of hiking trails to see beautiful scenery, natural areas, but also relevant places for culture, food, and city life. I'd like to see a combination of must-see spots and hidden gems, and I will be traveling with my partner. Please search relevant sources online when giving the answer and give the links to the used sources. And it will also give you things like the links and so on. And that can be really useful because then later you can use it for reference. It says here's a counterclockwise 14-day loop beginning in Taipei, blending iconic masses with mountain hikes, coastal scenery, cultural immersion, local food, and a handful of hidden gems. I've cited at least one source per item and list full URLs at the end under sources. So you see, this one is the link and will tell me where it took this information from. And in this way, you can also use it to kind of get a better idea and get deeper searching yourself into the suggested places and suggested activities. So day 1, for example, it's telling me from day 1 to 3 it's Taipei and nearby hills. So it's telling me that morning, afternoon, we arrive in Taiwan. we should buy the Easy card and SIM. So it literally is telling us also all the important steps to take. So remember to take the SIM and the Easy card. The Easy card is used for transportation in Taiwan. So it's telling you exactly what you need to do first, unless you don't need it, but at least you know that that's something important. And then do the check-in at the hotel, whatever hotel. We're not there yet. We're not in accommodations mode yet. So it's telling you then stroll Ximending, Longchen Temple, Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall. And then you go on a sunset hike to Elephant Mountain in Shangshan for city panoramas. In the evening, you go to Din Tai Fung or Shilin Night Market for Xiaoqi street food. And you can see all the links. Sometimes it's repeated, but it's probably because of relevancy. So those are probably sources that are most used and most searched online. So Itinerary moves on to all the days, culture, and etc. So then for days 4 to 7, the East Coast stay Taichung. So it's moving down and it's giving you all the activities and the things you can do along your itinerary. And that's kind of to give you first an idea. Now, I understand that you see so many places and so many things and it can feel quite overwhelming. At this point, you can kind of start to see, okay, you find something that you're interested in. Say, for example, day 11 in Taichung Urban and Wetlands. In the morning, it tells me to take the high-speed rail to Taichung, visit Rainbow Village and Natural Taichung Theater. And you're like, well, what the heck is that? Well, you can open the link and it will take you to the link. Okay, let's accept this. Cookies. I'm looking for a cookie right now. That would be nice. So you can start to look deeper, of course, on what are those things. So you take Alicia and you're like, what the heck is that? Because I've never been there and I don't know. And you go Alicia and then images and you kind of look down to Google and you see, okay, this is something I might be interested. And then you go deeper into the information and you take like the nationalgeographic.com website or and you can read about it and so on. And if there are things that you're not interested into, you can start to make a list and say, okay, I don't care about this and that. I really like this and that. Of course, you need to put some effort because you have to understand what you want to do, or you can decide to just go with the flow. Say, okay, I'm going to trust ChatGPT 100% because it understood me perfectly. And the longer you use it, the more it will know what you like and what you don't like. That's why it's called self-training technology, because it will learn from the experience and what you teach to it. So this itinerary balances urban energy, mountain escapes, coastal culture, local food, hidden gems, the tours, perfect for 2 adventurous travelers. At this point, you can give it extra suggestions and say, okay, I don't like those things, or I truly like these things, but I want to do something extra. But let's say that, for example, you forgot a very important thing, as I did, for example, and that is to tell it when you're traveling. Now, when you're traveling is really important because some things are not best done in certain periods of time. For instance, I'm traveling Taiwan in typhoon season. I know that some of those activities are probably not going to be possible on certain days, on certain times. So instead of saying, okay, I have to give up completely, let's say what ChatGPT would suggest that I do in case of bad weather, basically. So what you want to do is ask, okay, thank you. Will this itinerary work for a September trip, or would you suggest some changes for the weather? Let's see what it says. Here's what to expect in Taiwan in September. Okay, so now it's telling us what to expect for the period of time. And it kind of gives you also suggestions on the temperatures, the rainfall and humidity, typhoon risks. Those are all very useful information because you kind of get, okay, plan outdoor hikes early before 10 a.m. or late afternoon. Midday in low-lying areas can be oppressively hot. That is an important information because this way, even without having to check your plans every time, you can just say, okay, I know that all outdoors activities are gonna have to do it in the morning, the early morning, or in the late afternoon, and maybe whatever it is, whether it's museums or so on, I can keep it in the middle of the day when it's hottest. And then it will tell you recommended adjustments to your itinerary. So it's going to say, Original segment, weather challenge, sporadic showers, typhoon, winds, etc., and the adjustment. For example, move Elephant Mountain today to sunrise, which is less windy if heavy rain, and swap with National Palace Museum, which is indoor. So it will give you basically a second option, or kind of will advise you on how to do that specific activity in another period of the day, for example. Or instead of coastal storms may affect boat tours, for some lake, then it says, okay, reserve lake cruise only if weather clears. Swap with Tainan Heritage walking tour, mostly under shaded arcade streets. Now, you might not find this very relevant. However, if you've seen one of my latest videos, which was about resetting and having to rebalance after a setback happens, you will know that when you travel, sometimes you have to readjust because of weather, because of other situations. This can be really useful because it gives you an idea of, okay, you cannot do this thing and it was like so great because it was a must do, but maybe you can do something else. So in kind of panicking at that point, you already have an option B. Maybe you're never going to do it because in that day you get great weather and you don't have any problem at all. But if you do, you already have option 2 in hand. Here is giving me like a sample flexible buffer plan. A on rain day in Hualien, option B storm day in Alishan, activities, festival and cultural highlights. So knowing exactly the period of time that you're traveling is really important, because having a plan B already made, and you already know that in case of a storm, in case of a typhoon, well, maybe in case of a typhoon, you don't really want to go anywhere. But if you have a plan B already prepared, you already know and have an option of what to do, and you don't have to kind of freak out or being super sad because you wanted to do something and now you can't really do it. You can also do a step forward and ask to focus on recommended ideal areas less affected by the rain, and also for backup plans in case of heavy rain and typhoon where you find it necessary. It has given me recommended regions least affected by September rains, a itinerary adjustment and backup plans for my entire itinerary. It has even made a table where you can see, for example, Lisong Hot Springs. It's telling me, okay, adjusted for dry focus, Chijian Island coastal bike loop, sea breeze, less rain. So it's giving me second option, but that is still outdoor. And then finally it says rainy day backup, Shiji Beach covered pavilion cafes. An option, an adjusted version for the period of time that where I'm going, but also specifically for rainy days. So at this point, I think we're pretty much set. Of course, you kind of want to relook the entire thing if it's good for you, and if you don't like something, you can tell it to it. Or say that you truly found something online that you truly want to do. You can also ask for specific things. And so you can add this option in a specific segment by keeping also the other option. And this can be useful because sometimes, although it's not even related to weather, it could be that you have maybe a hard time finding accommodation. You have to adjust the plans because some options are just not available, or maybe just because you really like that option. So you can ask to adjust the itinerary. So when it comes to the Alishan part, it's giving me option morning hike option A, morning hike option B. It's also added my option as well. So I can decide at that point which one of the two I'd rather do. Or maybe one is not available. So I also have a backup plan with things that I already know that I want to do specifically. Now, at this point, you kind of find, okay, I have this itinerary, I have all those information. I kind of wish to see it all written down in a more schematic way. So what I would ask is to make a table format itinerary. Divide each column in day-by-day rows with the original itinerary, so not weather specific on one column, and all the weather specific alternatives on another column. So it has made day 1, day 2, all the original itinerary. And of course you can shift it around, especially if you're spending more days on one specific city, say for example Taipei. And then on the other side, it has written me on the other column whether save alternatives. When you want to eat and you want to try street food, it can tell you, okay, Chile night market is your first option. But if it's raining, there is a cover stalls at the Rajoy night market. So rather than having to completely give it up, that way you also have another option. So I was just finishing editing a part of this video and I realized that it was just getting way too long, and I know there's a lot of information. Therefore, I'm going to split it in two parts. The first part is the one that you've just watched, and it's all about the itinerary and the planning. And the second part, which will come out next week, will be all about accommodation, details, information, transportation, and all of that that you also need while traveling, so that once you're actually there, you're already prepared and you know exactly what you need and what you have to do. So I hope that part 1 for this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys in part 2 next week. Until then, don't forget to subscribe, share and like, and I'll see you guys in our next adventure. Bye!